Hi, second grade friends. I am back with our final part of our virtual lesson for the gods and goddesses of Mount Olympus. It's been a very interesting ride with these gods and goddesses and the power that they hold and the things that they worship and the things they controlled, like the weather and the sea and art and music and poetry. So it's very interesting to see how some of these things have evolved in ancient Greece and how powerful that the ancient Greeks believed the gods and goddesses were. So let's continue with Hades. Hades is god of the underworld, son of Cronus and Rhea. Hades was as grim and gloomy as the underworld where he lived. He was also rich, for all the treasures in the ground were his. Hades rarely left his dark kingdom of the dead. When Hermes brought souls of the dead to him, he prodded the unwilling ones into the shadows. He saw that no one escaped. Cherubis, his three-headed dog, stood guard at the locked gate. But Hades grew lonely and wanted a wife. Zeus said he could have his daughter, Persephone. But Zeus knew she would not want to part with her mother, Demeter, to live in Hades' gloomy kingdom. Nor would Demeter even let her go. So Zeus told Hades to kidnap Persephone. Hades rode up into the brilliant sunshine, and that is just what he did. So this page is giving us a picture of his underworld and Hades and his guard creature. And this scene is showing us when he came from the underworld to see Persephone here in the day of light playing with the garden and the children. Demeter and Persephone. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest, grain, and fertility. She's the daughter of Cronus and Rhea and the mother of Persephone. Demeter and Persephone were always together. Gentle Demeter loved her daughter and took her wherever she went as she tended her grain fields. But one day their joy vanished. As Persephone was out with friends, picking flowers, she simply disappeared. No one saw what happened, not even Demeter. She did not see Hades charge up in his chariot and snatch the lovely Persephone. She did not see him take her down to the dark underworld to make her his queen. She did not hear her scream and cry for her mother. Demeter searched the earth for Persephone. She grew haggard and neglected her fields. At last she heard what had happened. Furious, she told Zeus that until Persephone was returned, she would cause a famine, and she did. Soon fields grew barren, crops and trees withered, animals and people starved. Zeus saw that Demeter meant her words. He sent Hermes to fetch Persephone from Hades. But Persephone had been tricked into eating 4 pomegranate seeds, the food of the dead. That meant she could not leave Hades forever. For 4 bleak months a year, one for every one of the 4 seeds that she ate, she had to return to the underworld as Hades' queen. Then spring came, the land turned green, and flowers bloomed, for Demeter and Persephone were together again. So if you think about it, 4 bleak months a year, where there was no harvest, no food, no crops, everything was brown and dry, that would be winter. And then when they were reunited, Demeter and Persephone, right here, that's when they would have spring, because they were happy and they were together and things would bloom because of their happiness. Pretty interesting. Dionysus, god of wine and vegetation, son of Zeus and the mortal princess Semele. Dionysus' mother was struck dead by lightning before he was even born. It was an accident caused by jealous Hera. Zeus rescued this unborn son and sewed him up in his own thigh, and there he stayed until he was born. Dionysus was hidden from Hera's sight and was raised among nymphs and wild animals. But eventually, Hera found him and drove him mad. Dionysus traveled the world over, teaching the art of winemaking. With him went a band of wild satyrs and Mænades. They danced in a frenzy and raised a rumpus wherever they went. Hera had driven them mad too. Later, Dionysus recovered and, despite Hera's protest, was welcomed into Olympus. Kind Hestia gave up her throne for him. She was comfortable by the hearth. Hestia, goddess of the hearth, daughter of Cronus and Rhea. Hearth is here, where they have a fire. Okay? Hestia rarely left her place by the hearth. She saw that the sacred fire of Olympus never died out. She protected every household and hearth on earth and was honored by gods and mortals alike. Hestia, the gentlest of the Olympians, chose not to marry. She had enough to do as the peacemaker of her quarrelsome family. Yet, despite all their quarrels, there were harmonious times too. Times when they all, each unique god and goddess of Olympus, ascended to their thrones, and they were magnificent. So here they are. I'm going to peek around here so I can show you and read it. Here's Hades, the god of the underworld. And here's where we just read Hestia with the goddess of fire and hearth. And of course, right in the middle, we have Zeus, the king of all the gods. His wife Hera. And I'm going to go back this way. Eris, Aphrodite with Eros. Hephaestus, Hermes, Demeter, and Persephone. Okay? And then on this side of Zeus, we have Poseidon, remember with the trident, when he would hit that trident and the seas would turn just violent in storms. Athena, Apollo, Artemis, and Dionysus. So there, my friends, are the gods and goddesses that reside on Mount Olympus. In this book are just a few of the many Greek myths that have been told over thousands of years. In various versions, the myths have been passed on to us, first orally, then written down by scholars through the ages. The myths have influenced many cultures. Even the Romans modeled their gods and goddesses on the Greek ones. The myths have endured the test of time. Even today, the gods are valued for their human qualities, their humor, their lessons, and their wisdom. They have become part of our lives in ways we don't even notice. The next time you hear a clap of thunder, or feel the wind, or see golden wheat swaying in the fields, or hear beautiful music, what will you think? Is that Zeus shaking his thunderbolt? Or is it Hermes flying past? Is it Demeter playing with her Persephone? Or is that Apollo's song filling our ears? They are still with us. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed our journey of Greek gods and goddesses. What I'd like you to do is think about one that struck you, that you really enjoyed learning about, and our next lesson, you're going to tell me about that person and you're going to write about it. Or you're going to tell your teachers if you're not in my class. Okay, second grade friends, great job on ancient Greece. Bye-bye.